All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry I can't be there again today. I hope to see all of you tomorrow. I know that you're all absolutely bummed that your teacher's not there again. I know for sure. Anyway, we have a couple things to do today. We're going to finish up these tectonic boundary notes and do a couple other things as we start to wrap up this unit, really, with about 2.5 weeks left. So, the very first thing is that your homework check from earlier in the week obviously has been graded, and there's feedback in there as well. Excuse me. So, if you'd like to go in and use a second attempt on that homework check, you are more than welcome to do that. Lots of the feedback was centered around using your explains. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to use those explains and use your learning targets too, because your learning targets will do a really good job showing what you need to know for that document and for that homework check. All right. So if you'd like to do that once we're done today, you're more than welcome to do that in class. Otherwise, please get it done either sometime today or tonight. That'd be great. Okay, so let's talk convergent boundaries. So we talked transform boundaries and we talked divergent boundaries on Tuesday. So we're going to do some similar stuff for convergent boundaries here today. So I'll go through this first one with you. I'll give you some tips and tricks for the other ones, and then I'll let you get after it here. So this first one is continent. All right, so we have two continental plates smashing into each other here. They are colliding. It's might be worth noting that these are colliding. I talked with quite a few students over the last couple days, whether it was in person yesterday, Wednesday, or whether it was over Schoology message, and just kind of refreshing that we know that convergent means colliding. So convergent means going into each other, smashing into each other. So it's maybe good that you write that down in the corner so that you don't forget here. So at a convergent boundary that involves two pieces of continental crust, the plates will collide with each other, forming large folded mountain ranges. Okay, so we can see that we have all of these mountains in the center from these colliding plates. Due to a relatively low density of both continental crusts, the plates push up towards each other. So remember, continental crust, if we want to draw a quick diagram here, continental crust is always going to be less dense than oceanic crust right here. This is oceanic crust, it's thinner and it's more dense. So we need to know that. We need to commit that to memory. So three features here. Shallow and medium depth earthquakes are common along this plate boundary. Well, we have been nice enough to mark those on here for you. So those X's represent the shallow and the medium earthquakes that are found on the plate boundary. Okay, we don't have deep earthquakes here because we don't have subduction. We only have the surface level and then the stuff up in the mountains. So the shallow and the medium earthquakes there. And then large folded mountain ranges are the features on this margin. So it might seem a little redundant, but it's good for you to write in here. This area here are the mountains. So those are formed directly on the boundary right in the middle. As you can see, like in this picture, this would be the mountain range right here. In this picture, it'd be the same thing. And then over here, those are the Himalaya mountains. And those are right on the edge of the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate. Okay, so did earthquakes, did mountains. And then it creates faults or cracks in the Earth's crust where movement occurs to create fault block mountains. Okay, so we have faults and folds in here. So all of these lines, all of these are faults. And then the folding occurs, and when rocks fold, it tends to really show some beautiful patterns. So it's actually really, really cool. All of these folds, maybe let's go over here. All of these, those are folds due to that extreme pressure of two continental plates crushing against each other. So we have folds and we have faults. So make sure to label both of those. I just want to make sure you know what we're talking about when we say faults and folds. All right, so that's continent. That's kind of a weird one. And you will have time at the end of this video to go back and finish this this paragraph right here. Same thing as before, filling in the blanks. It'll be very easy for you. All right, so convergent continent ocean or ocean continent. We have an oceanic plate crushing into a continental plate. Okay, there's a key thing here that I want to make sure that we all know about and write about. So subduction. We have subduction happening here. So I'm actually going to label where the subduction zone is on this drawing. So the earthquakes are already done for you up here, but I want you all to draw this dashed box with me. This is the subduction zone. This is super important that you know this. So we have subduction here because we have oceanic crust. And oceanic crust is more dense, as we just talked about, which means it's going to subduct or go under the continental plate. So this area right here, this square that we have, is called the subduction zone. Okay? You still have earthquakes to go through, and then you still have volcanoes for this one. So I'm not going to do everything for you on this one. But it's good for us to talk about what a subduction zone is and what subduction is. Don't forget to label, whoops, that was a bad line. Don't forget to label this one either. So you have trench, earthquakes, and volcanoes. And then, of course, you'll go through and answer these questions here. And then finally, convergent boundary at ocean plates. So again, we are going to have subduction. This is our subduction zone. Be good for you to write that in again here. You can see it really on 3 out of these 4 pictures. Here's your subduction zone here. It's where that plate is subducting, and same thing there. We have our other subduction zone over there. Okay, so make sure you label the trench. Make sure you are labeling the volcanic arcs, and make sure you are, or volcanic arc, I should say, and make sure you are labeling those earthquakes as well. The shallow, medium, and deep earthquakes that we have in an ocean-ocean convergent boundary. All right, so once you get all the way through that and you get through these 3 paragraphs, filling in the blanks, you're pretty much almost done for the day. So it's not going to be too bad for you. The next thing I want you to do is actually go over to your learning targets. So learning target 5, this was what I assigned you on Tuesday, was to go through the first 2 questions or the first 2 sections on divergent and transform, and then fill out number 5. Well, since we're getting done with convergent here, we can actually go through number 6, label all of these features on the drawing here, and then make sure you know what types of crust are happening here. Don't forget about this question right here. This boundary is a convergent blank blank, so tell me what types of crusts are happening here. Same thing with the second one, and same thing with this third one. Okay, again, explain the interior process occurring at these types of convergent boundaries and how these exterior features are created. So we're going through that same process of what's happening inside to create the stuff on the outside. That's what we're looking for, okay? What's happening on the inside to create the stuff on the outside. Don't forget about any of these features. Super, super, super important that you're able to label a picture with all of these features. Something that could very easily be asked on an assessment here in the near future. And then finally, explain the interior process occurring at this type of convergent boundary and how these exterior features are created. So this one is talking about that picture. This question is talking about both of these pictures, okay? There's something different that happens at these first two compared to that last one. And that's what I need you to show me that you know. All right? Might be helpful for you to drag over and take a look at your boundaries when you're doing your learning targets. You might as well. You spent the time doing it. You might as well use what you worked on and use it on your learning targets. Okay, and then finally, number 7, you'll be able to do that one pretty easily. That's a transform boundary. We talked about that on Tuesday. That one's going to take you probably less than a minute, okay? Don't forget to label those. Once you are done with all of your learning targets, congratulations, you're done with learning targets for the year if you've made it all the way through those. I want you to scroll down to this map, and we're actually going to do some coloring here. I would like you to use a red color to color in all of the divergent boundaries. I would like you to use a green color to color in all of the convergent boundaries. And I'd like you to use a blue color to color in all of the transform boundaries. So for example, since I'm so kind, I will do one for you here. I see one at the Aleutian Trench. I see that these two arrows are going into each other. So I know that that has to be a convergent boundary. Now there's one more piece here. It says label next to the arrows what type of crust is involved. So O for ocean and C for continent. Well, if I'm looking up here, I can see that this is ocean, ocean. So this is all ocean up top here, and it's ocean down here in the Pacific plate. So I know that that's ocean, ocean, and that's a convergent boundary. Okay? You'll have to go through the entire map, and some of them are very easy and very obvious. Other ones are a little bit trickier. So I want you to go through and try to color in and label ocean, 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 continent, 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 whatever. I want you to label those different types of boundaries. Okay? And then finally, the last thing I'm going to say, if you get done with all of this and we still have time in class left, which is very possible, I want you to go through the Quizlet set I have posted for you in Schoology. It's a set on learning targets 3 and 4. It wouldn't be a bad idea for you to go through and to practice learning targets 3 and 4 in that Quizlet. All right? Send me a message if you have any questions. Again, I'm super bummed I can't be there today. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Send me a message. Keep working hard, and have a good one.